All right, talking to us from Toronto, Ontario, Greg Wayne, who is the winner of the TV Spec Screenplay Contest, Two Broke Girls, which is a hit show on CBS. How's it going, Greg?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So your first reactions to the reading online, watching the reading online.
It was really exciting to see it posted. I mean, when you write these spec scripts for existing shows, you never really imagine that they'll be brought to life in any sort of form. So, it was really satisfying, I guess is the word, to see actors actually performing the script.
It's one of those arts that we try to do, is that we don't want the actors to be that, to mimic the character on the show, so we don't want the character to basically play the actors playing Max on the show. We just want them to be what the script says, and that's sort of hard for them because they obviously have watched the show to prepare for the role, right?
Yeah. No, and I thought just along the lines of what you're saying, I mean, they did a great job of playing the roles without sort of doing a full out imitation. So I thought it was great. There's some great actors you assembled there, and it was really cool to watch.
So why Two Broke Girls? What's the master plan behind writing this spec?
Well, it's interesting. Right before I wrote this spec, I'd written a spec for Modern Family. So to sort of show both sides of sort of my writing range, I guess you could say, I wanted to do something that was sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum. So where I guess Modern Family has this reputation for being very sort of highbrow and clever.
Yeah.
Two Broke Girls sort of exists on the other side, where it's very sort of it's in your face. It's blatantly lowbrow, and it's proud of it, and it's a very funny show. So I thought it would be a good sample, sort of as an addition to my Modern Family spec, to just to have in my arsenal there to showcase a bit of my range.
And Two Broke Girls is not going to win any Emmys anytime soon, I guess, right?
No, not quite.
But people love this show. But it's very polarizing. There's that. It's almost like Big Bang Theory, where it's a top 10 show. The ratings do well, but then there's always those haters out there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not exactly well regarded among the TV snobs, if you will. But I mean, it's a very funny show. That's really it's simple, but that's sort of where its charm is. It's very, very charming in its simplicity, and it doesn't really try to be more than it is. I mean, when you tune in exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get, Max saying something gross. You're going to get a few belly laughs, and I mean, it's just going to be sort of a fun half hour. So it's really, it is what it is, and it's a funny show in its own right, and I enjoy it.
It's almost like the female 2.5 Men, where there's all these sexual innuendos in every joke.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the whole sort of the way I sort of wrote these jokes was, I mean, they're all basically derived from Caroline saying something that's sort of naive and innocent, and then Max sort of putting that sort of body, sexual, gross, sometimes even racist spin on things. So I mean that 2.5 Men comparison is certainly a good one. So
intellectual smarts to street smarts, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we did have an issue. I'm just curious, because I'm not prepping you for this either. Is that one of the Asian actor was a little. Some Asian actors in Toronto didn't really want to do it because they thought that it was offensive to the Asian population.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say other than I can certainly see that perspective, and I mean, almost agree with them. But I mean, in the writing of this script, you sort of have to, sort of abandon your morals in a sense, and just sort of embrace the fun aspect, and hope you don't really offend anyone, if that makes any sense. But I certainly understand.
You didn't write the spine of the show. You're not offending anybody. You're executing what the show already is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, I can understand the perspective, certainly.
But the Asian actor who did it, who did a very good job at it.
Yeah, he was great.
He just basically saying it's a cliche, it's a stereotype, but stereotypes are true, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's also making fun of the stereotype.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very, very tongue in cheek in the way it is.
Yeah, totally. So why do people write specs? Like just like what's the like I was asking before, like what is the plan of attack? The show, give it to the agent, the show that you can write the two, like you're saying, Modern Family and Two Broke Girls. Is that what you're looking for to get a good agent?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the goal of any spec is to first get an agent to see that you can write for other people's characters and other people's shows and understand the tone and the voice of various shows, because then I suppose once you get an agent, they're going to send these scripts around to various shows in hopes of getting a staffing job, and of course shows want to know that you can write for characters that aren't your own. So that was my sort of intention in writing these spec scripts, is to hopefully get an agent who will then get me a staff job on a show.
Well, we'll help you in any way we can, because you obviously wrote. It's a very well executed spec. It's almost like from the show itself.
Oh, thank you so much.
Which is the greatest, like, you can, like, it's very much like the show. It's like people thought that, and this is sometimes where actors are not in tune of why the specs, they actually think it's like an episode of the series, right?
Yeah.
Which is a high compliment, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. I mean, I do, I think it does do, a pretty good job of nailing the tone and sort of the types of humor, so it's great to hear that you agree with me.
So what? And do you have a TV pilot that you've also written to have like on your bag of talents? Like, have you written a pilot yet?
Yeah. Actually, I wrote my first original sitcom pilot about 6 months ago. It's called Ad Game. It's about an advertising agency. I actually work in an advertising agency, so that's sort of where that whole idea generated from, and it's been pretty well received. It was a semi-finalist in the Austin Film Festival this year, and a finalist in Script Pipeline TV writing contest. So it's sort of sending it around, getting some decent feedback, and excited to show it off and hopefully get some work out of it.
Do you? So it's like the comedy version of Mad Men, I guess, like the.
Yeah, I like to call it the poor man's Mad Men.
The poor man's Mad Men.
Yeah.
Is Mad Men like a show that you watch, or?
It is. Yeah, I love Mad Men. It's one of my favorite shows, certainly. But it's my idea is just obviously it's a comedy, so it doesn't take everything as seriously and dramatically as Mad Men does. But it's all about sort of that, where the idea comes from and how that idea sort of is a metaphor for what's going on in the characters' lives at the time. I think is sort of the structure and the parallel of Mad Men for me.
So there's no Dick Wigman type character in the show, I guess. Like there's none of those dramatic turns.
No, there's no alternate identity type thing going on. That would be interesting to work in, though, to a future episode of this.
But there's different tones of comedy as well. Like I don't know if you saw that, and it's something. It's always about timing as well. But they have the Robert Williams' comedy is set in an advertising agency.
Yeah, Crazy Ones is actually set in an ad agency, and that show is looking really good. Actually, it's quite funny and enjoyable. But it's interesting to see. I mean, it's an interesting world with a lot of potential, and Mad Men has sort of opened people's eyes to the sort of drama and intrigue of an advertising agency. So I think a lot of people are sort of looking to explore that in different ways as well.
There's a lot of themes you can explore in the advertising world. But the thing about the Robin Williams show that makes me laugh is that Bob Benson is like playing the bizarro character that he played in Mad Men on that show.
Yeah. No, it's very funny.
I don't know if you noticed that, but it's the same guy. It's just funny that he's doing two shows at once, and they're both advertising shows.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
And we know that as you work in the advertising, what are you? Are you in the artistic director kind of world, or?
I'm the head writer at this advertising agency, so I write a lot of scripts and stuff, sort of generate ideas and present to clients, and so I'm on the creative side.
So, but is there always, like, it seems like in my little experience in the advertising world, there's always a Pete Campbell in every office. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty well correct. There's definitely some interesting characters. It draws a lot of interesting people into this world, and you do see characters in Mad Men sort of playing their way through my office as well.
But at the same time, like there's that cliche. I don't want to put you on the spot of like kind of advertising is evil kind of a thing, but it's not that black and white, correct?
Yeah, I mean, advertising is sort of something that's existed for so long. I mean, sales and marketing is just something that's, inherent to capitalism, and it's, it does certainly sometimes perhaps you try to walk the moral tightrope, if you will, and it can be kind of tricky, especially with the more demanding clients. But that's what the whole regulatory process is for, to keep us in check in that regard.
Yeah, and you're as a writer, you're definitely on your way. Like I said, this was a very easy script to do. It was very solid, and I'm looking forward to seeing your future scripts out there. And let's get you an agent. Let's get you a new career. How's that?
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds good to me. Thanks so much for the compliment.
Can you double dip? Can you like go to both? Can you go back and forth?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not?
Your bosses won't mind?
No, they're cool with it.
Look, congratulations again. Like I said, very, very well done, and it was a pleasure doing your script.
Great. Thanks so much for doing it. It was great to see, as I said, and thanks for the interview. It's a lot of fun.